So when I want to think of something to do, I can take it from the list. But I also just come across ideas all the time. It's like, oh, that'd be a really good idea for a show, and I just do it.
And how are your followers and over a 5-year period now?
Uh, the show's had about 45 million downloads. We get about 1.5 million a month.
Wow.
And again, because it's a daily show, there are certain people that just become really fanatical about listening. And we have this thing called the completionist club for people that have listened to every episode. And I'm up to episode number, well, this tomorrow's will be 1,760.
Wow. And for people who want to get into podcasting, I assume you're monetizing this.
Oh yeah. It took a while to get to that point, but once it did, it ramped up very quick, and now it's, my livelihood.
And that's good. And is it a good livelihood?
Now it is very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I interviewed a guy right after the pandemic, and he was going to trade shows trying to get people to do podcasts. And everyone's like, no, I don't want to do a podcast. That's horrible. And he had this whole idea. And then afterwards, when the pandemic hit, they called him up and says, we want to do this now. And now he does 60 different podcasts a month. That he, not just in individual, I'm talking different podcasts that he oversees and handles and does stuff different for trades and other things. That's how he monetizes his.
Yeah, there's lots of different ways to do it. But being a host and being the owner, and if you can get the show big enough, it scales real well, because unlike most jobs, it's not reliant on the number of hours you work or, a promotion or anything. It just scales with the audience. So the amount of work I do to reach, to do 1.5 million downloads a month is not much different than I was doing the same thing when it was 5,000 downloads a month.
What was the big jump from 5,000 to where you got to your 1 million?
Nothing happened overnight. It just kind of has kept growing through word of mouth. Because I get a lot of people that's like, I'm that guy at the office now. I keep telling everyone about this podcast I listen to and whatever facts I hear on today's show. And that's kind of been how it's spreading.
Well, and please don't take me wrong, but it's unusual that the way that your podcast is and the subject that it is, that is, people think it has to be some type of crime subject or something different, where you have something where it's history, education, basically.
I felt like I was one of the few people that could do a show like this. And of the people that could, I'm probably one of the very few who would. There's so many true crime podcasts now.
Right.
And there's so many, I thought about doing an interview show, but there's a lot of interview shows. And this was a market that I felt I could tackle and not have a lot of competition, especially with the daily show, because daily shows are very difficult. And if you look at other large podcast networks, I know the Discovery Channel has a show they call daily, but it's really just 3 times a week. And it requires a staff of 4 people to produce it. And they all live in New York. So the production costs of that are like way more than some dude in Wisconsin who records it out of a spare bedroom.
And now you record, you edit, you do it everything, or do you have somebody else who does that for you now?
I do everything.
And so question would be, do you pre-record any of them, or do you all record them all the same day? Well, I mean, do you batch record, or you
No.
do? Okay.
The recording is the easiest part of what I do. The most difficult part is the writing and the research. That's what takes all the time. The actual recording, I can record, 15 minutes of content in 30 minutes roughly. Because it's a solo scripted show, that is the easiest kind of show to produce.